3 hours ago, I posted a thing on my story that says, doing a Q&A, ask anything. And we got a lot of questions. We're just gonna do a Q&A. I haven't done one in like 3 years. What's a shoe you never thought would do crazy numbers, but did? I'd probably say like half the Nike Dunks from like 2021, 2020. A lot of those should not have done well, but they did good, which is surprising. Seller, hold, medium, olive Dunks. I mean, personally right now, I would just get rid of them. I got rid of most of my pairs. I think peak is probably gonna be like 250. What is the best sneaker to invest to right now? Guys, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I get this question every single day, and it's probably the worst question I consistently get, because what is the best stock to invest into right now? What is the best crypto to invest to right now? There's like 50 to 100, and I think you just won't get one like off the bat. But I think that if you want to get into investing, a gold mine is just grade school Jordan 4s, size 5.5 to size 7 at 200. Dunk Low USC, I think that if you have pairs, you could hold them for a bit more, but I don't think they're gonna surpass $220 in my personal opinion. Will there always be sneaker reselling? I think that sneaker reselling will probably be around for another 20 years. I'd say like 20 years. I do think there's gonna be a big shift from StockX and GOAT to consignment. Like I think that like StockX, I think is gonna die out, StockX resellers. I don't think they really understand that without the resellers on their app, there is no StockX. Regardless of like the customers they have, there is no StockX. And I think that the returns are so low for resellers on StockX and GOAT that resellers are literally making nothing. Like literally nothing. The people who made the most money in reselling before StockX and GOAT, they were doing consignment. That's what they were doing. What do I do if I have no local consignment shops? So this is actually a big problem. A lot of people have been telling me like they have no local consignment shops. I would say if you have no local shops that do consignment, wait like 3 to 4 months. Right now, I'm working on getting every store into consignment, also in UK and Europe as well, and like other countries. What's a good amount of money to start holding shoes or start investing with? I would say nothing lower than $8,000 to $10,000, because you want to have like half investing, half quick flips. And so you really don't, you want to split, you know, investing maybe like 30% of your money. And like right now, to be honest with you guys, I have a lot of cash. You know, comparing it to shoes, I probably have like 1,700 pairs of shoes, which is like over $500,000 in shoes. But like I had close to 4,000 pairs just like 2 months ago. I had close to 4,000 just like 2 months ago. And so I think I had like over $1 million in shoes, but now it's like I have more cash than shoes because I'm getting ready to reinvest like crazy really soon. Will the new release Jordan 4 Messy Room go up for resale? I actually don't know typically what goes up in resale until they release. So I have to see what market looks like when they release. Do you think 2023 Jordan 4s will do numbers holding compared to the last 2 years? I think that grade school, like right here, Jordan 4s will do very well. Just pay like 150 to 200 in a 5.5 to size 7 and they'll do great. Any tips on how to rack up money fairly quick without bots and limited amount of money? Go on OfferUp, go on Facebook, go on eBay, go to outlets and find shoes for cheap and then sell them for more. Honestly, like I said, like I'd say consignment, but if you want to make quick money and you have low capital, sell them on go to StockX and make your money, or get a credit card, go to the outlet if you have a car. I'm gonna have a video where I made like $500 in a day off an outlet. You can do it pretty easily. So I would say that is a really quick way to rack up money if you're young, because that's what I did. Also, what I did when I was younger was like, I would clean shoes up for like days and stuff and then resell them and make like 30, 40 bucks. But again, it's only worth it if you're new and reselling. Should I sell my Jordan 1 High Chicago Lost and Found? I think that peak will be at like 600 max. So I think that if you want capital now, I'd sell them at like that 450 range and reinvest. Honestly, that's what I would do. But again, I don't have any Lost and Founds because I think it's too high of a buy-in and not that high of a return. Looking at its peak, if it peaks at 600, I'm making like 150 a pair if I'm paying like 450, when I'd rather just buy a Jordan 4 for 200 and it goes up to 350 like I did with the military blacks. Best way to form a solid relationship. The best way to form a solid relationship is literally just give more in the beginning than you're given to, pretty much. Just like give people more in a relationship leave money on the table. In deals, let them win. Like continuously like give them more than like you would receive yourself, because it's a long game. Every single person that I do business with today, I knew 8 years ago. Every single person. I can't name a single person that I didn't know, I'd say 6 to 8 years ago. Even on new projects right now, I knew these people like 8 years ago. So definitely like leave money on the table for any beginning deals that you do with people. Always. If you know you can do it long term, do that, and I promise you the relationship will take you further than you can imagine. Where should we sell faster and higher? I think that faster, obviously StockX and GOAT. Higher, consignment. If you want the two together, I would say honestly a bigger consignment, so Stadium Goods, you'd get faster and higher. But if you want really high but not that fast, probably local consignment. It's typically a $50 to $100 difference in return. Black canvas will continue to go up. I think that they will. I think that black canvas 4s in men's will go up to like $450. I have a lot of grade school that are in my storage unit right now, like hundreds of pairs. I think those will probably hit like $350, but they're at $300 now. So I'm making $100 a pair, but I still think that like I might hold for a bit more. But black canvas 4s in men's, they're going to $450. Best place to source locally. I think building connections and like making sure that everything is in place with your local connections, or Facebook Marketplace is probably best bet. And then building connections with the people on Facebook Marketplace who have bulk, or Instagram. Instagram typically does really well. Best way to start making money with 10K in 2023. So I'm gonna do a little plug for what our team does. We actually scale people to 10 grand, anywhere from 5 to 10K a month. You do need to have $8,000 in capital. I'd say like the basic way to get to 10K is buying shoes in the beginning as singles if you're new, building relationships with the people who sell you singles, and then eventually buying bulk from them. That's the most like logical, like straightforward path to making 10K. I don't think botting will get you there, and I don't think that holds will also get you there. I think it's only quick flips. Only quick flips can do that for you. Do you do anything outside of reselling sneakers? If you're talking like hobbies and stuff, I'm into cars, I'm into snowboarding. The cameraman's doing something behind the camera, but I don't think I want to show that, what he's showing me. What's your worst investment and how did you deal with it and move on? I think my worst investment would probably be the Panda Dunk investment. I bought $60,000 worth of Panda Dunks. Market went down from like 300 to like 200. Luckily, I consigned majority, if not all of them, and got a return of, I think it was like 320 to like 350. Some of them were like 280 as well, but I didn't lose any money, but that shoe went down the most out of any shoe that I've ever had. And that's like rare for shoes to go down in my personal opinion. Where do you find the most useful consignment shops? Most consignment shops, to be quite honest with you, could be a bit sus, just because they don't know how to manage your stuff and like they don't have the foundations down. But I think that the best ones would be like ones that you can build a personal relationship with the owner, because that's when you know like they're not going to screw you over and like they're not going to steal from you. Other than that, just go with the big ones. I'd say like Stadium Goods. I mean, there's a lot that you could do, but I think the most important thing is like just build some relationships with local ones and they will always sell your stuff for the high. Best place to sell sneakers that don't move for high on consignment. I would say if you can build a clientele, you could sell for the high locally and such. But other than that, I think that it's really simple. Like this thing is a really simple game, and I think that most people typically complicate it. Around how much capital should you have before you start consigning? I think that you could have $300. If you have 300, buy a Lightning 4 for 300 and then sell it on consignment for 450. You put it on consignment for 450, it would sell at 450, store takes 20%, you would get 360 and you make $60 on a Lightning 4. You do that 10 times, you make 600. So that's why I always say I pay resell and it makes more money every single time. So yeah, will Jordan 4s go back to how they were? I remember back in 2019, cool gray and bread 4s. I think that they probably won't go that low for another like 6-7 years. It's so weird how I like make these predictions like 6-7 years, but then like it actually happens. But we're not gonna wait I'm not waiting 6-7 years to make a point. But like point is I think in 6-7 years, they're gonna be not going for as much as they go for now. How do you know whether to hold or not? I think that I could go into like a 12-hour video discussion for that, but I'm just gonna say I do have a product out, and it'd be pretty dumb for me not to say like I have a product on how to hold shoes. So yeah, I literally have a book. That's essentially how you would learn how to hold shoes. But I think that just educate yourself and watch all my videos from 2019 or 2018, and that would probably teach you a lot. Are the lobsters a good hold? So looking at the lobster dunk right now, I mean, this shoe goes for $500. Sales volume is decent, 5,000 sales. I think that in like 4 years, this could be $1,000 shoe, but right now, I don't see any potential of people paying $500 for a shoe when, you know, they're scared of like a recession, which I don't think a recession will affect sneaker reselling, because I've noticed that a lot of shops are selling a lot of shoes and like people are still buying shoes regardless. But personally, like, I wouldn't hold lobsters. Oh, and the next question, how are you adapting to the recession? I don't really see any recession with like my business. I think that shoes are still moving. I sold close to 2,000 pairs, a lot of pairs over like the last couple of months. And so all of them sold for the high. I don't see like what a recession could do to sneakers. If you're really wary, I would just say buy lower price shoes like Jordan 4 grade school, and like, don't buy lobsters. Like, that's a shoe you wouldn't want to buy in a recession. How do you acquire sellers from overseas? Where do you find them normally? This one's actually pretty good. A lot of people wouldn't talk about this, but if you just go on Instagram, you can find a lot of sellers overseas. Literally just Instagram, just find them. I can't say how exactly because it would just ruin what I have, but just go on Instagram. I'm sure you'll find stuff. And funny, people wouldn't even say Instagram. They're just gonna say like, oh, like WeChat or something random. But like, yeah, they're all on Instagram. Do you think I can turn my 1,000 to 100,000 before I'm done with high school if I'm a freshman right now? I think yes, if you work very hard. You only have to make $25,000 for each of those years. I think that you can easily make $100,000. With that 1,000, I would say buy a little bulk buyout for 1,000, flip that to like 1,500, take that 15, flip it to like 2, take that 2, flip it to like 28, and so forth. Just keep doing that, and you'd make $25,000 easily. And the more money you have, the more money you're gonna typically make. Do you have tips for people in the UK? I know that UK has a lot of shops that will do consignment. It's just a matter of like if you can trust the shop. Also in the UK, I know the market is higher in the US. That's what I heard. It's higher in the US than it is. So maybe buy from the US and take it to the UK if you can get cheap shipping rates, and then make money that way. What was your family's opinion now and then of how much money you're making out of reselling? So I'm gonna bring my cousin behind the camera over here. So this is my cousin, and you can kind of tell them the dynamic of like how our family works for me at least, you kind of know how it works. Yeah. So like anytime I feel like I've like one-upped myself or made more money in reselling, what is the typical answer?
Okay, like so what, you know?
Yeah. Like typically it's just like, which is good.
It is
because I feel like it keeps me like
humble.
Keeps me humble. It's like the whole airport ordeal you said.
Yeah.
What was that?
Some guy recognized me at the. Maybe he's like watching this.
Yeah. Some guy recognized him at the airport. Was like, oh, are you from my videos? And like I've had a lot of people come up to me with me as well, just like saying what's good and stuff. I feel like the fact that my family was always just like, it's not that big of a deal. I guess it just wired in my brain that like, it's really not. Like, it's literally, I'm a reseller.
Like even when you told me, like, I didn't really care.
Yeah, there are bigger things in the world than being a sneaker reseller, and I think that it's the smallest, like, of the smallest things. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's way bigger things than just being a reseller.
Yeah, it's not that cool.
It's not that crazy, if I'm being honest.
Like,
I feel like
stacking this much shit. Like,
it's cool when you first do it. After you do it 100 times, it's just like,
it's exhausting. It's
pretty tiring.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun sometimes too. So yeah, I mean, to kind of conclude, my family didn't really give two shits, to be honest with you, which is good. I think that it will really help you in the long term to understand that like, this doesn't really matter. I think what matters, human connection and family, really. I mean, I think that as much money as you have, it does not matter unless you have like a backbone of people that care about you if you didn't have this. So I think that's the most important. How do I start reselling? I don't want to pay StockX fees, but I don't want to get scammed. So if you don't want to pay StockX fees, just get a reselling permit, swipe your taxes off. And if you don't want to get scammed, then buy from reputable people. Be careful when you buy new stuff. Is there any app available to list all the inventory? So I use Scout, but I don't know if they're open right now to the public. They might be soon, but I think like StockX bought them, so it's kind of hard to get in. But Scout AI app. That's the app for inventory. What was the hardest thing you had to face when starting, and what is the hardest thing now? That is an amazing question. So I think the hardest thing when I started out is getting a lot of capital and like propelling myself forward. And like I've made every single method that I do right now are like methods that I have made myself. They're not methods that I found on YouTube. They're not methods that I got from anyone else. And something I've never mentioned is that like there are so many people on YouTube, not to like say I'm like a big shot or anything like that, but there are so many people on YouTube who have taken my methods that I've made 4 years ago and just repurpose it. Just repurpose everything that I do. Just like try and teach people when it's like all of this stuff. If you go back to my first book, all the stuff I was talking about 4 years ago, all of it was stuff I pretty much just like had to really make up and just trial and error with. But I think the hardest part back then was just like building those methods that actually work. I think the hardest part now is just like, I know it sounds weird, but I feel like knowing who to trust is probably the hardest part now, because when you're starting as a reseller, I mean, you'll trust anyone, to be honest with you, because you need to get a start. I mean, I think that I don't do business with like 99% of people. So probably that's like the hardest thing. But overall, like this is really nothing compared to like most other things. So I don't think it's that hard. Have you ever had a 9 to 5? So I had a job when I was 13 and I worked there for $5 an hour. And every single time I got off of work, I worked for 4 hours. I took that $20 and I spent it all on food. I quit after a week because obviously you're not gonna make any money with $20 every day and then spending it all on food. It just won't work. So I quit that job when I was 13. I never had another job after that again. I've literally since 13 been reselling. So it's been 10 years. Is it easy to start? I think it's really easy to start, especially now with all the information online. Back then, there used to be a thing where like you had to be in group chats on like Facebook Messenger to know what to do. That was like your kind of way into like connecting with people. But now you can literally join any community and you're gonna know how to start it. Just watch YouTube videos for free. And back when I started YouTube, I used to look up like sneaker resellers, kind of like what I was posting, and there was no one on YouTube at that time, which was like 4 or 5 years ago. So I guess now it's pretty easy to start. How much capital you need to start joining Discords that have the methods? Well, I don't have a Discord, but if you want to join our one-on-one, you probably need like $8,000 in capital. Have you ever got fake shoes? If so, what did you do? I have gotten a pair of fake shoes when I was 14. I got scammed for like $400. I was never able to sell those shoes. I don't think I did. So I just lost like 400. Come to the UK. Honestly, I might have to come to the UK because I pretty much want to get every store into consignment. So I'm probably literally going to go to like every country. I know most people from every big store, Stadium Goods, Flight Club, UN. So I know how the foundation goes, and I know how stores can scale up to like, I mean, Flight sold for 50 mil, Stadium Goods got like 200, Urban's worth 30. Like I've been doing it for almost 10 years, so I know how most of this stuff works. So, yeah, I mean, that's really like what I'm gonna probably do in the next like couple of years and just make resellers rich again. Because literally, I don't think you guys understand how breaded so many of my reseller friends were like 5 to 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when we were all pushing consignment. I don't think you guys understand. If you guys were a reseller in 2014, 15, 16, 17, maybe even 18, it's so hard to explain to you guys, but like consignment, GOAT and StockX ruined everything. When I tell you they ruined everything for resellers, resellers are making a minimum of $100,000 a year, minimum. I don't know a single reseller friend. I knew plenty. I had a 15-year-old friend who was making, I think he made like $800,000 within the span of like 3 years or something like that. So I'm telling you guys, the golden years were 2014, 15, 16, 17. And I'm gonna bring that back, honestly. Like, I am not a fan of this whole StockX GOAT thing and like resellers not making that much money. So yeah, it's gonna come back, and all these resellers, we're all gonna make a huge comeback. Have you ever considered opening your own store? I actually thought about opening up a chain of like 10 consignment stores, because I think that if you want to exit out of a shoe business or a shoe store, you need to do consignment. There's really no value in just having like a shoe store where you buy, because then like if someone buys it, then they're like, oh wait, well now we have to buy all the inventory. Whereas the value comes in having hundreds and hundreds of consigners that'll bring you the product, and you make a 20% margin on that day in and day out. So I think that's really the value of opening a store. And if I do, that's what I'm gonna do. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Open up a chain of consignment stores. Who's that crackhead? Nathan, they're talking about you. Come show yourself. This is the crackhead in the photo. All right, that's it. How long does it usually take for you to get money from consignment? Typically anywhere from, I'd say like a week to 2 weeks. Some of them will do it like instantly, but it's quite rare. If you had to sell all your inventory right now, how would you invest that money? I would buy 500 to 1,000 pairs of grade school Jordan 4s, like every release, primarily invest into grade school Jordan 4s and make 50 to 100% return on investments. Your sneaker rotation, if you currently have an all-time one. Nathan, bring the mags. So a shoe I wear every day are these Nike mags. I wear these to the gym. I wear these everywhere. No, I'm just kidding. I don't wear these to the gym. I don't actually wear these at all. My daily rotation is literally these shoes right here and then a pair of Air Forces, Valentine Day Air Forces. Yeah, these Valentine Day Air Forces. These are the ones I wear. They're so beat. But yeah, thank you for showing them, Nathan. What's your favorite video you made? Oh my God, that's a good question. I think probably my outlet video or like my Pine Green Jordan 1 video or selling Rocky $200,000 worth of shoes. It's one of those videos. It's like one of my big videos. Who do you do the most business with? I'd say Rocky, probably. Is your YouTube revenue still really bad? I probably made like $4,000 in the last like 2 years off YouTube. So yeah, I barely even post on YouTube. Instagram is mainly where I stay. If you had to restart your reselling journey, what would you do to maximize your profits? I would say maximize relationships. And then I would say probably just start with consignment and then maybe some holds. I wouldn't do any other method, consignment and holds. If you're given $5,000 to start up your business, what would you do with it? If I was given $5,000, I would go and buy probably close to 20 pairs of shoes. And then I would flip that 5,000, probably like 6,500, take that 65, flip it to like 75 and then to 10. I wouldn't look for more than 30% margins with $5,000 in capital. So 3 most important lessons you could tell your younger self. So I got really lucky and I got blessed with the best dad in the world. Shout out to my dad, number 1. He really taught me like every lesson that I know today. Like there's really nothing that I would be like, oh, like tell my younger self. I would probably just say like, listen to my dad. That would literally be like, keep listening to my dad. Cause the thing about my dad is like, he never gave me like loads of money to like start my business or like do what I'm gonna do. The number 1 thing he gave me was just like, I guess who I am today, like letting me know when I'm wrong and doing it in a way where, in a normal way. I feel like a lot of people, I guess a lot of dads are, I don't know, like he always just wanted the best for me. It's really weird to say, but like, he's really been like the only person who's like, I feel like believed in me from day one. And I cannot say the same about anyone else in my family. I mean, Nathan also believed in me. Yeah, Nathan didn't believe in me either, but no, he did. I think to some degree, like after a while, most people did, but like my dad was really the only one who believed in me when I had literally nothing. Like I had no foundation. I had like no shoes. He would drive me like 3 hours to do big buyouts when I had no car. He'd help me with a lot. And so I think that he's really like what a lot of my thinking and like the way I look at things in life, being grounded and everything comes from. So I think that he's the number 1 person I'd say, like my younger self, just keep listening to my dad. And also be more humble. Because when I was younger, I don't think I was that humble. But now I think that I'm pretty mellowed down with a lot of this stuff. Best versus worst choices you made and the valuable lessons learned from such stories. The worst decision I ever made was taking too much money off the table in a relationship because I wanted to gain money short term, and in the long term it damaged me and I could have made far more money. One story I'll tell you is there's a guy, a lot of people know him on Facebook. I'm not gonna say his name, but if you know, you probably know him. He gets thousands and thousands and thousands of shoes. And I remember this was 5 years ago. He had like 1,000 black cement 3s that he could have got me from overseas for like 180 a pop or like 200 a pop. And I told him I didn't have money, but I'd have it in like a week or 2. I was like 17 or 18 or 18, I think. And I was like, I'll buy 100 pairs. He was like, okay, I'm gonna front the money for you and then order it. And then you just pay me when it gets here or something. He did that, the shoes came, and I was scared to put my money into it. I was simply just scared. Like I have never spent that much money. It was like 20 something thousand. I was scared and I told him like, I'm so sorry, but like I can't do this anymore. He already fronted the money. And if you know who this guy is today, he is pretty low key, but he's like the biggest, if not the biggest, like reseller right now in terms of just like volume and everything. And so I ruined that relationship with him. And the funny thing is I knew him since I was like 14. So it would have been I would have known him now for like 9 years, 10 years. Probably would have been the best relationship I've had. And I probably would have been getting a load of more volume now because now he gets like 10,000 pairs, if not more, for deals. Like these Black Canvas 4s, I heard from a friend that he was selling them for like $230 or something, like $240. I had to pay $260. So like, and he was getting them in thousands and thousands of pairs. So that just kind of goes to show that like I played myself. I was young and I played myself. Do you have fun moving the boxes, bro? Well, not necessarily, but I'm doing this video for you guys, so I have fun when you guys enjoy my videos. So I'm gonna say not moving the boxes, but I have fun when you guys enjoy the videos and making videos. Do you do this full time and how do you maintain all the struggles in the market? I do this full time, and how do I maintain it? I don't try and maintain it. I simply just go about what I do on the daily. I have a team of like 5 to 8 people, I think. I don't know exactly, but they're all kind of like managed under other people. And they definitely help me a lot. So I think that just like having great people on my team will help you long term. I've had some snake ass people on my team a while back. So I guess like now I'm just super blessed to have a solid like 5 to 8 people who are just amazing. Your experience with Sneaker Dunk, it's pretty simple. I mean, I could just buy pairs off there, comes in like a week and a half, and then I give it to consignment and I make $50+ per pair, primarily on Jordans though. Where do you sell your big investments, 100 pairs plus? Honestly, I used to sell a lot to Cool Kicks, sold a lot to Rocky. I sell a lot on big consignment shops, but I think like Cool Kicks low-key used to pay me, like overpay me like back then. Now they don't do it so much, but I'd say like consignment more so, 100+ pairs. How do you lowball on a shoe? So if a shoe costs like $200 and you could make $250 on it, but you still want to lowball, just offer $150. The guy's probably gonna say no, but he's also probably not gonna sell it. So then come back 2 weeks later and say $150. If he says no, just wait 1 more week and then he'll say yes. This has worked every single time I've ever done it back then, and it does work today because I've told my friends to do it as well. So that's how you lowball. Are you Ebrew? Ebrew best resellers in the world. I have no idea what that means, but I'm gonna look into that. I wanna meet some of the best resellers in the world, the Ebrew resellers. How much time did it take you to build the capital you have now? How much did you start with? I think I started with like 30, it was like 30 or $60 when I was 11 or something, like pretty young. And 10 years later, yeah, I mean, I built it up 10 years later. So it took a decade, but I think I started with like $60 or something really small. And that's also the thing about reselling is start early, because like, look where it took me. And so like, if you're young right now, just start now. Even if you're 20, start now. How do you acquire so many pairs? You gotta have capital, number 1, and you gotta have sellers, number 2. Mix the 2 together, you can buy a lot of pairs. It's really not rocket science. I feel like people think it's like this huge, like just a math equation of like how to buy bulk. You just buy pairs if you have money. If you don't have a lot of money, buy less pairs and build yourself up. Do you use a spreadsheet to keep your inventory? I do use a spreadsheet. No, I don't use a spreadsheet. I use an app called Scout, but I don't think they're public right now to like everyone. What's your biggest hit? I mean, I've had investments that have made me like $35,000, $40,000. Probably the Black Canvases, but I don't know the exact math on that. Talk about how you scaled your business from the ground up in your daily routine. You don't really need a daily routine for reselling. I think back then I used to wake up pretty late and go to bed pretty late, but I think now that I'm juggling more things, I have to wake up pretty early, closer to like 7, and then I just work all day because there's like more things I need to manage, taxes, inventory, people that work for me, work with me, communication, YouTube, Instagram. Pretty much the whole thing is like, it takes a lot. So I'd say my daily routine is just like wake up, work, and then go to the, I don't know, go get some food or something and go back to bed. Do you want to go in front of the camera and just show what you did? No. Come show what you did. No. Come show what you did. Just do it. Come on, show them what you just did. for my daily routine. Show them. Come on, show them. They want to see. They want to see. Come on. Show them what I do. Come on. What do I do after I get food?
Nothing.
Exactly. That's what I thought. He's doing stuff behind the camera that like, if you guys saw, he'd get canceled. You'd get canceled. What are you developing? Man, if you guys knew what's going on, but I'll probably tell you guys in like a month. Once it's done, everyone will know, and all resellers will get really rich, and then we're all gonna cancel StockX and GOAT. And it's gonna go back to the golden days of 2014 to 2017, and you guys will see what I mean. All resellers will start making hundreds of thousands of dollars. How much do you make a year after taxes? I think it's like pretty high 6 figures. I don't actually know. I just have the tax guy do it for me. I don't really look into that kind of stuff because it just takes forever to actually do, but somewhere there, I believe. But I can do the math if you guys want like a breakdown of my net worth. Is buying shoes off eBay a good idea? I think that it's a good idea if you know what to source. There are certain SKUs that you can source on eBay and then flip for like $100 margins, sometimes $150 margins, but you just have to know what to source, and typically that's older Jordans, older than 2018, just because market has settled. Actually older than 2020, just because market has settled and it's not gonna be volatile and stuff, and you can make pretty high margins off of stuff like that. How can I meet up and buy shoes when my parents won't take me and won't let me go by myself? This is actually a huge problem I had when I was like 13, 14, 15. I would literally just get a bike and just bike to the meetup or take a bus. Like that's what I would do. I would just like go and bike to the meetup. Don't tell them. Obviously don't meet up with sketchy people, but like I would bike and bus for like an hour round trip, if not more, just to do a meetup. I think one time I biked 3 hours round trip just to do a meetup, and I made like 50 bucks, but I was really young. So for me, it was worth it. But if you really want it, you're gonna do it. Like you're not gonna be, I feel like, asking me if you really wanna do this whole reselling thing. Books you recommend? Obviously Art of the Hold. Yeah, Art of the Hold. It's a great book. Other books you can read: Power of the Subconscious Mind. Any biography. I've read the Phil Knight biography of Nike, Walmart guy, Elon Musk biography. Elon's a G, like actually. Matthew McConaughey biography. Any biography, literally just read it, because it'll just like show you what to do in situations that most people get into and how they went through certain situations. So literally just read biographies. That's all I would recommend. You're a G. Thank you for the kind words. Where do you see yourself in 1 year? I see myself playing a huge role in making resellers very rich. I think that literally every video I have is a way for resellers to make money, and I think that in 1 year, I think I will at least make 100 people, probably more than 100. I think I'd at least make like 1,000 people $100,000 a year in like reselling, and then I think I'd 100% make like a decent amount of resellers millionaires, because like now that I'm there, like I know how to do it, you know what I mean? And I think if I can just like make the information so everyone has that information, the ones who take advantage of it will get there. And it's like, I'm just gonna tell people, the ones who do it, the ones who don't. So I guess it'd really just be up to the person. Do you think the sneaker market will stay stable for the next couple of years, or will it die? I think that the sneaker market's gonna be stable for a while, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't worry if I were you. What if consignment isn't selling? You could just withdraw your shoes and then sell them locally or sell them elsewhere, or lower your price, undercut. Do you help people from Europe to resell? I think soon. I mean, I'm probably gonna have really good methods for people in Europe. Goals for 2023. I feel like when I say my goals, they don't happen, so I'm just gonna keep them to myself. But I'll say that obviously the general goals would be like, have at least like 50 to 100% return on investment holds with like a minimum buy-in of like minimum quantity of like, I don't know, like 100 to like 500. That'd be pretty sick, because now I have a lot of capital to buy a lot of pairs. Top 5 investments to make: shoes, cars, real estate. I think that obviously real estate's pretty good, but I also think that shoes are very, very good as well if you know what you're doing. What is your current business structure for tax purposes? So the way my accountant has it set up is he has like an S Corp for me, and like I pay myself every single month to the S Corp, and then he does something with that. I guess I pay less taxes, and it's pretty basic with sneakers. It's just like, if I buy a bunch of shoes throughout the year, let's say I buy, I don't know, $1 million in shoes for 2022, I profit a certain amount on that. The stuff I profit on, I pay taxes on, and then the inventory that I still have left over, I would follow it over to the next year. So I would basically still pay less taxes if I haven't sold all my inventory in the year of 2022. That's kind of how my accountant does it. But to be honest with you guys, like, I would probably need to ask him. What to do with grade school Chicago's? I would say if you can get them at like 180 to 200, probably hold them. But I think they were 200 when they first dropped. That's all I would do with grade school Chicago lost and founds. Shoe that you regret not to buy. So I actually had the chance to buy, I think it was like over 100 pairs of Travis Scott 4s, but I only bought 55. I think if I bought over 100, that would have been a lot cooler. It is what it is. I think that everything happens for a reason. A lot of these questions seem the same, but I think overall, if you want to grow as a reseller and if you want to grow as a person, I guess that's like the main point of this Q&A is number one, obviously, if you're young, if you're like 17, 16, 15, 18, even 19, you're not gonna know everything, and it's okay to just know that you won't know everything. I personally didn't have, if I could go back to being 14, 15, 16, 17, even 18, and I think that what I learned from those times are just like, just trust the process of what you're doing and believe in yourself, number one. I never, like, honestly, like, I hope, I would never want to go back to those years, because to be quite honest with you, as I got older, a lot of stuff just started to make sense for me and click. And I think that if you're a reseller wanting to grow, be patient. It's a long game. It's not going to be short. And if you really want to do it, always leave stuff on the table for other people. The more you give, the more you get. And I think that too many people are like, I need to get everything first. If you can give before you get, you will make far more than you could have imagined. And then another thing is that, like, at the very end of the day, every single physical item we have or see, it was all made up by a human before. And so who's to say that you can't do what you want to do if everything else is made up? If you really look at it in like a perspective like that, then the sky's really the limit. And that's really how I've been looking at stuff for the last couple of years, is just like everything that we see in the physical world was once not there, and now it's here because someone decided to do it. Simple as that. So if millions of people have been able to do what we have today and create something, who's to say that you can't do it? Who's to say? Like, there's no one to say that. If millions of people, they're no different than either of us. No one's different. Some of us may have, you know, better strengths or weaknesses, and that's where you can work with people together. And so never think for a second that you can't do something, because you can. Really do whatever you want. So yeah, thank you for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. We literally have to take this and like get rid of it. Let's get this video to, how many likes, Nathan?
150.
150,000 likes. Let's get this video to 150,000 likes. If you enjoyed this video, again, 150,000 likes like Nathan said. If you don't get it to 150,000,
no more videos ever.
Nathan's gonna cry, he said. He said he's gonna cry. And you guys, you don't wanna see him ugly cry. I've seen him ugly cry. No one wants to see that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and follow me at Sneaker Invest. It's like 5 and I'm still drinking coffee. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next video.